So this right here is the FancyTech Fancy081. FancyTech as a company is actually a pretty new company, and they just recently launched a few new keyboards which are pretty interesting. But today we're going to be focusing at the Fancy081 right here. And I want to say a quick thank you to FancyTech for actually sending this over. The FancyTech 81 actually starts at 360 ringgit, and you can choose from 4 types of switches. Links will be down in the description below if you guys are interested in this keyboard. From the front of the box, we can actually see that it's a hot swappable mechanical keyboard, and it has all this FancyTech branding. And on the back of the box, we can see that it actually has 3 modes of connection: wired, Bluetooth, and 2.4 GHz. 16 million colors, RGB backlighting, and you can adjust it in the software. Multi-system support, so it supports both Mac and Windows. And of course, the hot swappable PCB, which supports 3-pin and 5-pin switches. And the Bluetooth can pair up to 3 devices, and it has a 2000 mAh battery inside. Now let's unbox it. First thing included is the FancyTech user manual right here, and it covers everything from the backlight settings, the shortcut keys, wired, wireless, and Bluetooth mode, and a really cool feature called the triangle indicator on the keyboard. Besides that, they also include a really nice white braided cable right here, and it's actually gold plated and it's Type A to Type C. And they also include a spare spacebar if you don't like the one on the keyboard, and they also give a 2-in-1 keycap and switch puller. Now let's take a look at the Fancy081 keyboard. So this is the Fancy081. From the front, we can see that it has a really nice 75% compact layout with a knob, and you can see the triangle indicator feature on the bottom right. And I really like the color scheme. Of course, these are some pretty interesting die-sub PBT keycaps which I've never seen before, and I'm not sure what profile they are. And this is the side profile of the keyboard. We can see the pretty interestingly shaped knob right here, and then the keycaps profile which look like this. And this is the other side of the keyboard. We can see the same profile, and it does have a slight incline. But if you want to increase or decrease the height, we actually have a 2-step leg right here, so you can go with the higher option or the lower option if you don't like that height of a keyboard. On the front side of the keyboard, there's no branding whatsoever, it's just this matte white plastic. And on the top, it's actually the same, just with the Type-C port a little bit off center, and right next to it is actually the 2.4 GHz dongle, which I really like because they actually provide a place where you can store it. And this is the back of the keyboard. As we can see, there's these 2 adjustable feet again, and of course you get your toggles right here for Windows and Mac, and to turn it to 2.4 GHz USB or Bluetooth. I just turned the keyboard on, and this is what it looks like with the RGB. Honestly, it looks pretty interesting. I would say that the RGB does shine pretty brightly even under this recording light, and I think it looks really nice with these keycaps. And we also get to see this triangle indicator blinking right here on pairing mode. It's a really nice feature again. These are how the keycaps look like up front. They are again die-sub PBT keycaps, and I think that they are pretty thick PBT keycaps, but the profile is a little bit weird to me. And as for the switches in this keyboard, I actually went for the Gateron Yellow Pro switches, but if you don't like linear switches, you can actually choose from 3 other switches on their Shopee. This is what the stabilizers look like. They do look pretty interesting in this teal color, and there are some plate mounted stabilizers which are look pretty heavily from the factory, but their feet are actually unclipped, so they are a little bit unstable, and in the typing sound test you can actually hear that there is some rattle from these steps. Now let's actually disassemble this keyboard and see what is inside and how it works. So to dismantle this keyboard, it's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is to remove the knob first, and I also recommend you remove the 2.4 GHz dongle. After that, you want to slowly pry up the top frame from the keyboard because this has no screws holding in place. You have to pry it open from all the 4 sides because it actually clipped onto the bottom part. And of course, remember to unplug the battery really carefully because this little connector can break easily. This is what the bottom part of the top frame looks like. We can see all of these like yellow gaskets all around which work as gaskets, I believe, to hold the PCB in place. And we can also see these yellow rubber gaskets all around the bottom part of the keyboard, and you can see the battery in the middle, and it does look to be pretty hollow, and there's actually no foam or sound dampening included on the bottom part of the case. And to remove the plate from the PCB, all you have to do is to unscrew the 6 screws under the PCB. Once you separate the plate from the PCB, you can actually see that there is this silicone included in between the plate and the PCB. So this is actually custom molded for this keyboard, and it fits the plate and PCB really nicely, and it helps with sound dampening. This is what the PCB looks like. So it is 5-pin hot swap with a north facing RGB LEDs, and you can see the knob right here, and of course the USB port on the top. And you also can see the 3 LEDs for the triangle indicator on the bottom right. This is what the back side of the PCB looks like. You can see your 2 mode switcher right here, and they actually use Cal hot swap sockets for this PCB. And this is what the plate of the keyboard looks like. It's white in color and I believe it's just a normal steel plate. Reassembling the keyboard was also pretty easy. All you have to do is just screw back the plate and the PCB. And remember to put back the covers for the switches, reconnect the battery, and of course insert the plate and PCB into the bottom part of the case and snap everything back together. After you make sure everything fits, you can now put back the knob and the 2.4 GHz dongle. Now let's move on to the typing sound test to see and hear how this keyboard sounds like. So what do I actually think about this Fancy081 keyboard? So first off, from the typing sound test, you can actually hear that this keyboard sounds pretty good. But the stabilizers do need a little bit of tuning because you can actually hear a little bit of ticking out of the box. Design wise, it is a really nice design. So if you're into this 75 compact layout with a knob, this is definitely a really nice thing. And that little triangle indicator does bring more flavor to this keyboard. And with everything packed in this keyboard with all these features and stuff, I think that with it starting at 360 ringgit, is definitely a very good buy. So if you're in the market for a really nice budget keyboard, I would say that this FancyTech Fancy081 ticks all of the boxes, and if you get it, you won't regret whatsoever. So yeah, that was it for this video guys. Leave a like on this video if you liked it, dislike this video if you didn't like it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I have more content coming very soon, and as always, thanks for watching. Goodbye guys.